Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for today's expert talk. Today, we're fortunate enough to be joined by Samer Bazzi. Thank you so much for joining us today. From what I understand, you are a full stack internet marketer. So thank you so much for reaching out and joining us today, Sam.
It's a pleasure. I love helping people, and I'm super excited to talk about my story and answer as many questions as we can.
Excellent. Now, I wanted to take a minute to share with everyone how you and I got connected and what led us to actually chatting here today. Sam, a coworker of mine, pointed out to me, Sam had actually posted in the Upwork community forums how he was feeling specifically motivated to give back to the Upwork community and share some of his learnings and wisdom, which has helped him achieve significant success as an independent professional here on Upwork. So thank you so much for reaching out there. I think it's a great example of how supportive and nurturing the Upwork community is as a whole.
It is. Community is awesome, to be honest with you. I try to help as many people on the forums as I can. I connect with a ton of people on LinkedIn. I try to put up some tips and things that can help them. So it's community is awesome. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, I was amazed by the Upwork community when I first started. I thought everyone in the community was my competition, and I've got to protect my information, don't share any wins. And then I actually started engaging in the community. I'm like, wait a minute, this is more supportive and nurturing than any work environment I've ever had before.
Exactly. You got to remember, it's unlimited work, right? So you're really not competing against anyone. I mean, there's enough work to go around. You have to, carve out your niche and become a little bit unique and offer something and become really good at it. And believe me, no one's you're your only competition at the end of the day. Just do a great job for clients and build a good history, and they'll always come back.
Absolutely. And we'll be diving into some of that today. But first, let's start off, Sam. Do you want to tell us a little bit about how you came to be where you're at today and the ramp up that you took?
Sure. Yeah. So I've been on the computer since I was like 14 years old. I played high school basketball. Unfortunately, I injured both of my knees. I was unable to play basketball. So I had a small surgery there to fix my ACL. It's not really a small surgery, but after that, I got stuck at home. I couldn't walk. I couldn't move. It was funny. At that time, I'm going to age myself here a little bit, but at that time it was back when the AOL days were raging, right? So America Online, everybody remembers the CDs. So I got on there and I started playing around and tried to be funny and so forth. And I picked up a little bit of programming, started to, build bots and all these other funny things through the chat rooms. Just started to do stupid stuff. And that's where I learned how to do programming a little bit. So I started to do a little bit of programming, used to build bots and stuff to message all the girls that I liked. So I thought that was a little bit funny and they got a kick out of it. But yeah, don't do that these days. You probably get in super trouble these days. But back then they turned a blind eye to it. After that, I became pretty good at programming, started building scripts and so forth for a few years. And the thing is I didn't know how to sell them. That was a big problem, right? So I would build little tools, and I'd put them out there, but I was like, how do you sell these things? What do I do? So I started learning marketing. Back then when Google ads were like 5 cents a click, and SEO was extremely easy to rank for, right? It was, you could do a lot of keyword stuffing and all these like really bad things, but they weren't bad things back then, fortunately. But Google picked on pretty quickly. Everything's AI driven now. You cannot really get away with stuffing and all that stuff. So I started learning. I went into one of the SEO forums. I can't remember which one it was. It was one of the big ones, but I think that was like 1,400 pages of discussions. And I put a 2-week period and I said, I'm going to learn everything I can about SEO. So I literally sat down for 10 hours a day for 2 weeks and learned everything I can about SEO. Fast forward, I worked at a couple large internet companies for a couple years, like semi full-time, right? So I worked from home, but I was worked between, one of these couple of the internet companies and the automobile industry. So I worked between them. And then I discovered Elance at that time. So Elance and what was the other company that? Odesk. Elance and Odesk. Yeah. Elance and Odesk. One company. So I worked on Elance for quite a while. And then, everybody knows the profiles were moved over to Upwork. And then I've been on Upwork since then. Between that period, in 2000, I don't know, I was actually diagnosed with a very rare form of kidney disease called membranous nephropathy. Basically what it is your immune system somehow gets confused. It generates a protein which circulates through your blood. And from there, basically, your blood flows through your kidneys, and that protein, my kidneys couldn't filter out that protein. So that protein sits on your glomeruli, which are those, little filters. Is actually, believe it or not, there's 1 million filters on each one of your kidneys. It's pretty crazy. So those proteins would sit on my kidneys and basically inflame them. And with enough time and enough bombardment, it actually scleroses your kidney filters, and basically they die out, right? So fortunately for me, I also at the same time I had a tumor in the back of my thigh. Once we removed that, a few months into it, I'm extremely lucky my kidneys started to recover. So I still don't know today whether it was the tumor in the back of the thigh or something else. I lost 150 pounds at that time within about a year. So yeah, I went totally vegan, totally gluten-free. Yeah, I was walking 3 miles a day. So I kind of took the process of elimination. I'm like, all right, lose weight, go vegan, go gluten-free, take my medications. I was on basic medications like, blood pressure, cholesterol, and so forth. So with that said, Upwork helped me like crazy, to be honest with you. It's not that I could move, I could get around, but I had a lot of doctor appointments and so forth. And I did a lot of research. So I was able to work remotely with Upwork when, it helped me enormously. It's funny because I still have about 10 clients today who will reach out to me and ask me how I'm doing, even though they're no longer clients. A few of them had their companies acquired. Yeah, it's amazing. So my clients on the Upwork community were actually some of my biggest fans, to be honest with you. Encourage me, how's it going? You can do this, etc. But Upwork gave me that opportunity to focus on my health and focus on rebuilding my health while still having an income, which was amazing. And then from there, to be honest with you, I just kept growing on Upwork. I carved out my niche, which was pay-per-click. So basically my niche is pay-per-click. Under pay-per-click, you've got landing pages, you've got conversion rate optimization, A/B testing, multivariant testing, heat mapping, click tracking. So everything related to pay-per-click. I made that my niche. I do know SEO, I do know programming, but you have to learn to pick a niche, right? Because you can't do everything. Once you start really doing everything, you start to really get yourself into trouble, especially with online marketing and especially tech. Things are moving way too fast. There's just not enough time in the day for you to constantly stay up to date. So that's a quick brief of my story. To be honest with you, I can probably talk about it for 5 hours, but we don't have 5 hours. So yeah. With that said, I'm very, very, very fortunate to have found Upwork because it enabled me to take care of myself while at the same time taking care of my health. And I'm very, very lucky and fortunate today to be able to sit here and say my 2 kidneys are fine, my health is good. I should probably be getting a little bit more sleep, but other than that, I feel wonderful.
Yeah, that's fantastic. Thank you for sharing that personal journey with us as well. I think it's something that a lot of people can relate to. I know on my own side, going back to the beginning of when you first started learning how to code and why, it's a similar story to me. I do graphic design freelance as well. And I first taught myself Photoshop because I wanted to Photoshop funny pictures of my friend's face on a gorilla. That stupid stuff that in the AOL days, me too, like, ha, ha, ha. And turns out it's a business skill. Who knew?
It is.
Business
it's
skill.
Amazing. Oh yeah.
And then, and similarly to you, maybe mine was more of a mental issue than a physical issue. But I was getting so wrung out in my previous line of work. I loved what I was doing. I was passionate, loved the people I work with, but I was having to do too many things, and my schedule wasn't my own. And it was degrading my mental health and my relationships. And that's why I had to say, change. Going over to Upwork was a lifesaver for me as well. I think it's a common theme for a lot of us here.
Love it. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, yeah, you'll be amazed. I'm sure you'll be amazed that common things you do every day can actually be skills. Like I know a few nano influencers here that have like 10 to 20,000, say Instagram or Instagram followers. And I'm like, you're pretty good at it. You can probably offer it as a service on places like Upwork, or maybe go grab a couple local businesses or whatever it is and get the ball rolling, because everybody needs a side income. Everybody, we live in a world where everybody wants more and more and more, right? So, and that's okay, but you got to supplement that with, some of your skill sets that you have.
Yeah. Now, you mentioned earlier about finding your niche and how you really found yours and dialed it down. Is there any suggestion or advice that you can give us on how someone can find that? Let's say I'm new to the platform, I've got a lot of interests, and I'm not really sure how to dial it down and really focus my attention. What are some suggestions you have for those folks?
So for me, it was really interesting, right? I was doing pay-per-click before, I was doing SEO before, I was doing design, web development, kind of like your all-in-one shop, which I really hated, by the way, because you never felt like you were becoming really good at something, right? You were good, but you weren't amazingly good. So for me, the reason I really like pay-per-click is I'm going in and working with clients. I'm managing, say they're spending 10,000 or 20,000 on Google. It's what I love about it is they constantly need you to manage their accounts. So you're getting those clients for the long term. Whereas certain things like, for example, let's say you get a client for web design, they need some banners created. It most likely is going to be a one-off project, which is okay, by the way. So I know a lot of people on Upwork that they do like hundreds of one-off projects. That's okay. That's fine. With me, I chose the route of continuous relationships. So most of my clients, I would say 90% of the clients I get stick around for at least 6 months. So I get long-term relationships. So I would say that's one thing to look at. I would say another thing to look at is just go on Upwork and do some searches. See who else is there. What are they doing? What's their income look like? How many hours are they putting in? How many jobs have they worked on? And that'll give you a good indication. So although I do say you should do things that you're passionate about and you really like and you enjoy doing on a daily basis, but also balance that out with making sure that there's a good enough market there for you, right? So for example, something like data entry, I'm not saying data entry is bad. It's very needed, by the way. There's just a lot of people doing data entry at this time. So you may want to start off with data entry, but learn another skill set. So, I had someone that I helped on in the Upwork forums. They're like, I do data entry. And I'm like, okay, continue to do a data entry, but maybe become good at analyzing data in Google Analytics or analyzing big data. Maybe, go read some courses or things like that. So definitely look out for trends of what's going on. So right now, data is huge, big data is huge, data analytics is huge. So another guy, he works in Excel. He's like an Excel guru. And he's like, okay, like I can build reports in Excel. I'm like, why don't you connect to third-party platforms like, Google Analytics or Domo or some of these analytics platforms and create connectors and create custom reports for that. And he started doing it. And all of a sudden he really carved out a niche for himself. So I would say like, do research, see if there's a good enough market there, look at the competition. Even if there's a lot of competition, it doesn't mean you can't do a good job, but it's kind of a business decision at that point for you.
Yeah, you just need to be able to differentiate. And I love that idea of starting with your core aspect that you like and then looking people that have that same core, what else are they into, and seeing what sort of triggers as a good idea to you or feels good. I also wanted to point out in Q1 coming up, I think maybe February of the upcoming year, we're going to be having it's in January 24th. Sure. We're going to be having a webinar on market trends and in-demand skills. So if you're curious, where should I be upskilling? That's going to be a good webinar for you. So keep an eye out for that one.
Perfect.
So let me see here. Now you've done an impressive job as an independent professional creating earnings, but you've also had remarkable success on the client side of things as well. What caused you to work on both sides of the equation, both hiring independent professionals as well as being an independent professional on the platform? What was the catalyst, and why do you do that?
Yeah, that's a great question that I get often, to be honest with you. People are like, oh, you make a lot of money, but you spend more money. And like, how does that work? So number one, 98% of the marketing work that's done is done by me. So I'm the high level marketing guy. I take most of that money and reinvest it. You won't believe it. If you look at my earnings, you say Sam lives in a mansion with a Ferrari and a Lamborghini. That's not the case. Believe me, I take most of my earnings and reinvest them. I would say 90% of them, to be honest. So on the hiring side, I'm a startup guy, so I love to create startups. So I have a few startups going on right now, tech startups. So I hire a lot of tech people. I'm writing a book right now about my story. And I have a nonprofit that I'm funding. So if you look at like that, I was diagnosed with kidney disease. I was actually, one of the things that I sat in bed one day, I know it sounds so funny, but I sat in bed one day and I'm like, I'm in a really bad spot. And I'm not the most religious person in the world, but I'm like, man, just give me this one chance. I promise I will make it up. And I was like, that's one one promise I can't revert on. So I have a nonprofit called Moonshot Cures. And basically, I'm building that up. The whole goal of that is to basically solve kidney disease. Now, there's many ways to solve kidney disease. There's, people eating better. That's believe it or not, most people get kidney disease because of bad health, bad habits, bad eating habits. And most of that, I would say 90% of that can be prevented. But there are people that get autoimmune diseases, people that are born with those types of diseases where, you need other solutions, whether it's medication or even having a implantable kidney. So on the hiring side, it's very interesting. I've hired over 400 people to do every kind of job you can possibly think of. I have a full stack development team right now that includes 8 people. I have a full-time writer. I have a full-time 3D video editor, and all these people work on my personal projects. My personal and tech projects. So that's what it is. I look at it as that's what interests me. I'm more of like a serial entrepreneur. So I work super hard on Upwork. I make really good money, and I redump all that back into try to build something better, because my long-term goal is not to, again, I mean, we all want mansions and beautiful cars. Don't get me wrong. It is fun. I don't discourage it, by the way. But my end goal really is to help people, whether that's from a health point of view or even from helping people in the community. So.
Yeah, fantastic. We've had a few people in the audience asking a similar sort of question, so I wanted to surface that for us.
Sure.
Do you do any internet marketing to drive traffic to your Upwork profile?
I do not. So I'm a firm believer in, okay, so I get, this is actually one of the whole getting people to your profile or getting jobs is obviously the most asked question in the forums, right? I've been on Upwork for 6 months. I haven't gotten the job. So I think I want to clear this up. Will, you and I talked about this at length, right? So number one, make sure that your full profile is complete. Do not only put 1 paragraph or 2 lines with a picture and call it a day, okay? Go into your profile, edit, fill in every single field that you can possibly fill in. I know you don't got reviews. I know you don't got history yet if you're new, but you can get testimonials from outside of the platform for people to come in and actually leave a testimonial. So I highly recommend that. That's number one. Once you feel like you have a good handle of your profile, number 2 is, I know this is a very controversial thing through the forums. Go out there and submit as much as you can. Now, take that with a grain of salt. Don't just go submit randomly. Read the job post, make sure you're skilled enough for it. Because if you go submit to a bunch and you get hired and you don't know what you're doing, that's when your bad feedback is going to kick in. And we all know you don't really want to start off on a bad foot, right? So, so that's what I would say. Go out there and submit proposals. And yes, you will have to spend some connects. And yes, I know that the argument is Upwork's going to make so much money off us by submitting connects. I am in internet marketing. I have clients who pay $1,000 a lead. Buying 120 connects for $20 or something, not that big of a deal. Yes, I know there are people overseas, and I know that $20 does mean a lot. So I'm not discounting that. For some people, $20 is a lot. So don't get me wrong on that front. But it's an investment, right? It's like going to school. You have to invest. It's like anything else, right? You're buying a course online or whatever it is. So I would say, number 1, make sure you have a complete profile. Try to get testimonials from the outside if you don't have a history. Take your certifications if there are certifications in your industry. Number 2, go out there and submit proposals. On the boosted proposals, you do not have to boost. If you find a project that you absolutely love and you think you're an amazing fit, by all means, go ahead and boost. But don't boost every job. It just doesn't make sense. But I would say submit. And no, I'm not hired by Upwork to promote people to go submit. People think that. I'm not. But I do think it's like in internet marketing, I have clients who pay $50,000 a month to Google, to Bing, to Facebook to get leads. Upwork is bringing you the leads. You just have to show up.
Now, let me ask you, Sam, when you were first starting out on Upwork, well, I know you were before it was Upwork, but when someone's new to Upwork, how many proposals were you sending ballpark in a month or in a week, whatever's easiest for you? Was it 2? Was it 200? What did it feel like?
50 to 100.
And that was a week or a month?
No, that was about a month. So I would submit like 2 or 3 a day, right? And I mean, there's just so many jobs. It's amazing. Like, honestly, it's like, I don't know. It's just so many. But of course, like I stress to the people submitting proposals, Do not randomly submit proposals. Submit proposals that you are fit to do. Submit proposals you know you can do a good job on. Submit proposals that you know you can handle. That's important.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm just grabbing a link from us here. For those that are curious, how do you get testimonials input from external to Upwork? So let's say you worked with someone prior to working on Upwork and you want to get that testimonial in there. It actually works through LinkedIn to verify they are an actual human and not just you with a hat on saying you rock at what you do. Let me see here. Yeah, so that's testimonials from external there. Perfect.
Yeah, and even on your profile real quick, if you're a video editor, take a video yourself and put the video on your profile. That way people can actually meet you, see who you are and what your video quality is. So there's little tricks like that, right? If you're a PPC person, take screenshots of your performance that you've done for your account, for your clients, and put them up there in your portfolio. Because I know the portfolio fits really well for people who do design, right? But if you're like a marketer, show the results you've gotten. If you're a video person, show some video. Now, of course, if they're client videos, make sure that you get your client's permission. But you could do a lot of things. If you're a writer, take some writing projects or take some personal writing projects and put them in your portfolio so people can see your writing style.
Perfect. Now, a lot of folks are saying, what if I'm new to my industry and I don't really have any previous clients to lean against yet? What would you suggest for folks in that situation?
Sure. So I talk to a lot of developers and they say, hey, well, I don't have any clients. I just graduated college. So I told them, why don't you go ahead and create a couple sample fun projects for yourself and show people your code quality, show people like some screenshots of the tool you created. Same thing as a designer. I'm sure if you're a designer and you're just out of college, you've created some designs. If you haven't, go ahead and take a weekend and create a bunch of designs and put them up there. Or create some for a friend or create some for, a relative who just opened up a restaurant or something. Like, even if you do it for free, like no one wants to work for free, but honestly, like there's many times, even at my status, there's many times I'll get on a call and spend an hour or two with a client and don't charge them for it. Because I look at it as that's an investment, number one, in me getting the client. I also create relationships. A lot of these clients on Upwork refer me to other people that they bring onto Upwork. So I've had like maybe a handful of clients in the last year and a half who actually referred me to relatives and friends who came and signed up for an Upwork account and hired me on Upwork. So
now, how did you find yourself making that a repeat situation where you're creating these really valuable and lasting relationships with your clients? It's one thing to say, yes, we love your work and give you a 5-star review. It's another one entirely to say, hey, friends, family, this guy knows what he's talking about, and sort of attaching your name to it. That's a huge vote of confidence. How do you, is there anything you can advise us on how we can replicate that in our own experience?
Honestly, I would say the biggest thing that I learned, give more than you take. Okay. A lot of people, believe me, guys, this is one of the most important things. And yes, I get it. It's like everybody wants to get paid. Everybody believes their time is worth a lot. But if you give a lot, the client will give you a lot, right? Like one thing I do, and my clients absolutely love this, I check in with my clients often. I think a lot of people don't understand this. I will send my clients at least 2 messages a week. Hey, John, how's it going? I'm having a look at the Google AdWords account. The leads are looking really good. Can you tell me the quality of the leads? How are they looking on your side? He'll reply back and they'll say, they're so-and-so, but hey, we're definitely going in the right direction. What that does is it actually puts the client at ease. Like, hey, Sam is actually looking at my stuff. Hey, this guy really cares, and I do care, right? And so do most freelancers do care. But check in with your client, give more than you take. If a client gets on a call for 8 minutes, personally, I don't charge them for the 8 minutes, personally, right? And they appreciate that. He's like, oh, okay, go ahead and add the hours. I'm like, don't worry about it. It was only a few minutes. It's no big deal. And they appreciate that. Believe me, you put in the 8 minutes, they give you 8 hours later. It's always happens that way.
It's a value add, if you will, to put it in a sort of simplistic term. You're creating value outside of doing a good job of what you do.
It really is, by the way. So give, especially before you even get the project. It's okay to give a little bit more at the start. Build the relationship, build the trust. The client will feel like really, really good about it, and you won't have any problems moving forward with them. So that's what I feel. And that's why they refer me to friends and family and other people, because they trust me. Once someone trusts you, that's it. You're good.
Yeah. Absolutely. Now, a couple of folks have asked this in a variety of ways, but how extensive of a proposal are you writing when you write a fresh proposal? Are we talking like 6 paragraphs, 8 pages, 2 sentences? What do you typically find to be the sweet spot for you?
Sure. So this is a great question. Number one, here's how I break down my proposals. I obviously read the job post. I think if they wrote their name in there, like, hey, this is John or this is Bob or this is Will, remember that. If they write down and then remember what their ask is. Like I've been working with a Google Ads specialist for the last 2 years, and my numbers have been gradually going down. So I have a template, but not in the traditional sense. I have a template. My template only puts my skills at the bottom, some testimonials, and my history. But the first part of my proposal, because that's the same for everybody, right? Like it's no big deal. But my first couple paragraphs are, hey, Bob, I'm sorry to hear that your numbers have been going steadily down. I've been doing Google Ads for the last 15 years. I would love to get how I can help you. Simple as that. Address him by his name or her name, and then talk to them about the problem that they're having. I've seen a lot of proposals, even when I'm hiring people, copy paste. Don't copy paste everything. I'm okay with copy pasting your skill set. I'm okay with copy pasting your history, some testimonials. That's fine. But don't copy paste the intro, because that's the most important part. Now, also, some people are going to say, well, the client only sees the first sentence, or the client only sees this, and they may not open it, and they may not do this. I don't really believe in that sense. I believe address the issue with enough proposals, enough clients will open, because even if you did start off by promising something in the first line, if they open it and the rest is fluff, they're not going to hire you. So I believe in, yes, you do want to get their attention, but you also want to address them by their name, address their issue, and tell them how you can help them, and then put a call to action. Let's get on a call. Let's get on a 15-minute call, something like that.
Yeah. Now, I wanted to bring up something here from the chat, an interesting comment. Most clients only get around 20 proposals on their jobs. I've spent a small amount of time on the client side before I became a freelancer on the platform, and my experience was a little bit different than that. I would easily get 150 responses to my job posts, but I will say in that same breath, I probably only read about 20 of them. I'm curious 100%. From your extensive experience, what does that workflow look like to you? Are you reading 120? Are you getting 120? What does it look like?
Okay, so I know it sounds crazy, but what I do is, like, let's say I got 50. I open them in new tabs. So I don't read, I open their profiles. I very rarely read the entire proposal. Very rarely I even look at much at the proposal. I actually open most of the people in the tabs. I look at their feedback. I hate to judge by feedback, by the way. I do look at like 90% of above. If someone's like 42% or 68%, I know it sucks.
You're talking about the JSS, the job success.
The JSS, exactly. Yeah. I know, and then I'll quickly scroll down and look at, say, the last 5 projects they worked on. And if it's not that great, then I'll just close it out. Yes, it may not be fair. They may have run into a crappy client or something like that, or someone, or there's a million scenarios that happen in life. So I hate to judge by that, but if there's so many,
what you're looking for, though, and different clients are looking for different things. So
exactly. So yes, so I will quickly. When you're hiring on the client side, when you get 50 proposals, you get to click the up, the thumbs up or thumbs down. So the thumbs down ones, I get rid of those quickly. I bring it down to about 15 or 20, and then I have a little deeper look at those. It usually comes down to 5, and then I'll message those people and actually ask them if they can get on a 15-minute call or a 10-minute call. So that's kind of how I do it, because it's really hard. Like you said, 150 is extremely overwhelming.
And if you think about your average client maybe is part of a larger organization, and they have this as a workload, and what they're doing for outsourcing on Upwork is maybe this little piece of it. So they're busy. They don't want to be reading 150 proposals and looking at 150 things. But
100%. Yeah, it's over. It could get overwhelming, and I know that's one thing that Upwork has kind of been like working on, is like trying to get the best freelancers in front of the clients. So remember, Upwork is a two-way platform. Upwork has to please the freelancers, but also the clients. So if you have too many freelancers and too little clients, that creates a problem. And if you have too many clients, and also creates a problem. So it's a little bit of a balance. So they're always working on things, which is great. So I'm part of a couple groups that we talk about this stuff with Upwork. So the team is definitely constantly working to get freelancers more jobs and also get clients the best freelancers in front of them.
Definitely. Now, from a client perspective, when you're looking through those 150 proposals and portfolios, what are some of the obvious red flags and green flags that from a client perspective, you say, yes, I'm going to message this person? You mentioned a few, or no, I'm not going to message. What are some of the things, let's say for proposals, that we should be including or should definitely not be including?
Sure. So I would say addressing, like, as I said right now, like number one, addressing the person by name, because it makes you feel like they actually read the post. Number one.
Yes.
Number two is addressing the problem. And number three, giving a solution. So I would say that's very important. The rest of the proposal, to be honest with you, doesn't matter much. But yes, I would definitely say include your, hey, I have 100% JSS. I've completed 68 jobs on Upwork. Here's a couple testimonials. I have 18 certifications, whatever it is, right? So include a little bit of tidbits. That's kind of like your templated part. So that's number one. I would say the second thing I look at is their JSS score, super important. The third thing I look at is their history, which I said why history is so important. And people ask, it's kind of like what you said earlier, like history. Okay, so I don't have a history. I'm new to Upwork. As we said, testimonials is one way. Another way is go out there and find some simple, easy jobs where you can do a spectacular job, right? And even if you don't make a lot of money, or even if you make very little money, that's okay. Number one, you get a happy client. Number two, that client may come back to you and pay you a lot more or refer you. Number three, you start building up your history and your feedback, and it builds trust and value. So I would say that those are the big things: the intro of the proposal, your JSS, and your job history, which does make it very difficult for people who are new to the platform.
Yeah, it definitely can.
But
sorry, go for it.
Remember this, and it's funny. It's I deal with all the time with clients, and they're like, "Oh, how I look at our competitor, and how did they do this, and how did they get big so fast?" I told them, "Look, we all start at zero. I started at zero too. Remember that." Yeah. So that's how it works.
Absolutely. Aaron had a good question in the chat there. The client's name is rarely in the job posting. True. However, if you look through the freelancer feedback, I know as a sort of shout out to the homies, whenever I leave feedback on a client, I typically include their name. Yes, it was great working with Bob, so just scroll down a little bit, take the 30 seconds to see the scenario, see if there's any obvious things you can pull out. Multiple names mentioned, maybe it's a company, you can get a few hints from the commentary. Yes, and I think the other freelancers do a great job of calling that out sometimes.
Yep. I just left the feedback for one of my clients yesterday. His name is John. I was like, it was amazing working with John. Yeah, again, I think I've worked with him like 20 times, but I left him a review. So like you said, review the feedback, review the posts. Sometimes they will put a link to their website. Sometimes they will mention their business name. So even if they didn't put their name, but they're like from, I don't know, Acme Inc. Say, hey, I see you're from Acme Inc. I see you guys are looking for a senior pay-per-click manager. I'd love to get on a 15-minute call. I've been doing this for 15 years or whatever, and take it from there. So yes. Yeah. And when it isn't mentioned at all and you can't figure it out, what I would basically say is, looks like you have a very interesting job here. I would love to get on a 15-minute call and talk to you about all the troubles you're having with improving your your Google AdWords conversion tracking or something. Or I see that you're having performance problems with your app that you just built. I've been doing this for the last, I love profiling apps. I would love to have a quick look at your app or get on a call, and I can give you 30 minutes of advice, and then we can see how it goes from there. So that's what I said. Give sometimes, even if you have to get on a call and give away some free information for 30 minutes, who cares? Like, if they want to do it on their own, let them. Remember that. So you're the prize. Remember that.
Now, you mentioned a little bit about like looking at what the client profile looks like when we're doing a proposal. What are some of the ways that you screen to make sure you're picking the right clients? It's a conversation I've had with quite a few folks where in the beginning you feel like any client is a good client. And then as you get a little bit more into your process, you get better at identifying which client relationship is going to be successful with you particularly. Maybe a great client for someone else, but maybe not a good fit for me. What are some of the ways that you screen?
Sure. Yeah, that's a really good question. So the first thing I do is when I look at clients, I look at what feedback they left, the feedback that they left for freelancers. So that's number one. I look at number two, how long they've been on the platform. Number three, I look at how many hours they've actually hired for and what their average hourly rate is. But the most important one to me is how they treat other freelancers. Now, look, not every scenario is good, but I was looking at a project the other day I was invited to, and the guy or gal, I don't know, they had like 40 jobs on Upwork. They left like 25 people like a 1-star review. So that was like a huge red flag to me. Either they're hiring the totally wrong people, or they're just not nice, right? So I definitely look at that. Also, I get on a call with any potential client. I will not take a project unless I get on a call with them. I refuse. And the reason for that is because I want to get the vibe and the aura of who they are, what their expectations are, and I want to get that personal touch. Once that happens, then it's a gut feeling for me. I'm like, I really like these people. I want to work with them, or something. I swear that maybe a handful of times I've ever had a problem on Elance/Upwork. It was basically my gut told me not to do it in the first place. So follow your gut.
I'm a huge fan of following that too.
Yeah. Now look, if they have 50 jobs and they left one freelancer a bad review, talk to them, or even 2 or even 3. Talk to them. You never know, right? I talked to a guy who left. He had like 50 jobs. He left literally like 48 people a 5-star review and 2 people a 2-star review. So I asked him straight up on the phone call, like, what happened with these 2 people? He's like, just literally disappeared. So like, it kind of sucks, right? So I get where he's coming from. So you give people the benefit of the doubt. Same thing with a freelancer. I've hired freelancers that had 1 or 2 bad reviews, and I asked them, hey, what happened? And they're like, well, the guy kept going on and on and on, wanted me to work for free, wanted me to do this. And so I understood things happen, right?
Definitely. Now, a couple of people have been asking a rather broad question here, so I just wanted to post some links.
Sure.
How do I land my first job? I'm going to go ahead and say, attending events like this, learning what's going on. I'm going to drop a link to other recorded events as well as the Upwork Academy. If you are new to freelancing, go through the courses. There's a whole wealth of how to write proposals, how to do profiles, what to do, what not to do. So the ABCs, nuts and bolts, wealth of information here. I'd like to segue into a little bit more of the transition period from intermediate to advanced, or beginner to intermediate, because we talked about a lot of the beginner things, how to make sure your profile's filled out, standing up to clients, writing proposals. So let's imagine now we've got a few good reviews, we've had some jobs behind us, trying to decide, where do I upskill? Do I start an agency? Do I start doing this sort of like hybrid between, like Sam's done? What are some of the ways that we can start making that transition to a more advanced level of being an independent professional?
Sure. So I really truly believe start small, right? So I believe if you think you're worth 50 an hour in an extremely competitive marketplace, I take a lot of criticism for this, but I tell people to start a little bit lower. And that gives you an advantage because you're already extremely skilled, but you're going to win jobs now over those other people that are just as skilled as you. So if you start off low, like hypothetically, let's say you think you're worth 50 an hour, and you probably are, you might be even worth more, right? Put at $25 to get your first 4 or 5 small jobs. Get on there. You build a history. You build good reviews. You build, you work with clients. You understand how the platform works. You see the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? After that, then you start raising up your prices. That's number 2. So you start pushing your prices up as either you're building a good history or your skill set is improving. And then from there, to be honest with you, you start getting more longer term clients. That's how you grow. Flipping one-off clients becomes very, very difficult. Get long-term clients who want to pay you, who want to pay you on a weekly basis, or want to pay you on an hourly basis, or want to pay by retainer or something like that. I think that's the easiest way to grow on these types of platforms, like Upwork and so forth. So get clients on retainer. That's the best way to grow. Constantly flipping one-off projects, it's going to be tough.
Yeah, I found from my experience, getting the recurring business model. Obviously, I work in design, so a little bit. So I don't usually have like the pay-per-click funnel I got to keep managing. But I found that, and this is addressing a couple of questions I've been asked too. How do you get those recurring clients? Oftentimes, the best and biggest clients start off with a small job posting. Why? Because they're testing the waters. Maybe they're new to the platform. Maybe they're new to working with freelancers. Who knows? maybe they just want to test the waters with you before they hire you. But I've had some of the tiniest jobs like, hey, Will, we need you to make 3 tweaks on this flyer, turn into a complete branding overhaul and ongoing projects. And I've worked with them for 8 years.
Well,
So
check
I
this.
think,
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Finish. No, go
I was
ahead.
just saying to your point earlier, do more than what the client is asking, because you have so many. I would argue that maybe 60 to 70% of my contracts were all tiny jobs, and they're still recurring clients, and they come back to me each year.
Exactly. I got a good story for you guys real quick. So a couple years ago, actually, I think it's been 2 or 3 years ago, and the project just closed out because they hired some internal resources. They wanted me to come full time, or they wanted to hire a resource. And I'm like, oh, I'm here to still help you guys, but go ahead and hire someone full time. It's all good. So I think it was 2 years ago, WebMD actually hired me through the platform. And the way that the project started was they put up a project for someone to help them with digital marketing, PPC, etc. I got on a phone call with them and I said, give me access to your account. Go ahead. Or send me whatever NDA you want. Give me access to your account. I'll do an audit for you for free. They said, no, we want to pay you for it. All right. I'm like, all right, just pay me 5 hours for it. That's cool. No problem. Whatever. Big deal. So they paid me 5 hours for it. And you can check my profile. That turned into a $98,000 job in the last 2 years. So a $300 job, $500 job turned into a almost $100,000 job. So, and I have a great relationship with those guys, and they ask me questions all the time. And, that's the way you want to do it, right? So go a little bit out of your way. You will build long-term relationships. Those clients become extremely loyal. They start referring you. They leave you good reviews and so forth.
Yeah. Now, I've had a few people asking this in a variety of ways.
Sure.
So I wanted to wrap it up and bring it to you in sort of with a bow on it. And I think this is coming from you have extensive experience in the internet marketing, but in the profile or proposal, the use of bold, italicized little iconography in it, do you see that as helping to stand out? Do you see that as professional, unprofessional? Do you use it? What's your feelings on that? Because I know that it can be quite polarizing for a lot of people.
If you're going to use it lightly. Don't put 800 emoticons in there. Don't put a lot of bold. It becomes, look, your professional clients, it becomes really hard for them to look at and read and so forth. So it's kind of like LinkedIn. If you use LinkedIn, you'll see the posts that end up going viral have very little emoticons in them, right? They're simple, they're clean, they're easy. I would say if you're going to use bold and you're going to use emoticons, use them where it's most important and not throughout the entire profile.
Yeah, that's a good call out. Now we've had a couple people asking, what was it? In regards to, and you referenced this earlier, maybe we could dive a little bit deeper. Folks that are getting clients that want to do test projects or have long consultations before the actual paid start of it. Do you want to rehash your opinion on that one?
Sure. Yeah, it's a good question. Number one, don't do any actual work until the contract starts. Because I'm not saying like technically, like if the client tells you I need you to do 10 hours of work before the contract starts, no, like don't do that. But if the client tells you, hey, can you get on a call and we can review my Google Ads account for 15, 20 minutes to see what you think? Sure, do that. If you see that they're a big client, like you can tell on Upwork sometimes a big client, like an enterprise client will invite you in and you want to go ahead and look at their account for 1 hour and give them like a 1 or 2 page audit and not get paid for it, that's okay. But do it within reason. If someone comes in and tells you, hey, can you edit our 4-minute video? And if you do a good job, we'll give you another one. Don't do that. It's not smart. You could get on a call and say, here's my points and here's my opinion on these, on the 10 things we could do to improve this video. Sure. But don't actually do any work other than a quick call or a very quick audit, something simple and quick.
Right. Now, to follow up on that one, great question from Stefan here. Apart from the free consultation that you give clients, do you offer any other incentives?
No.
Other than delivering awesome work, I suppose.
Deliver awesome work. I don't pay. So if I'm answering a message on Upwork, I don't charge them for that. If they want to get on a 2-minute call real quick just to ask me a question, I don't charge them for that. It just becomes like clients get, in my experience, in my past, I think clients get agitated by that. They think you're penny pinching them. Now, don't get me wrong. If he calls you for 30 minutes, charge him. It's okay, of course. But if it's like really simple, quick stuff, I would say like, don't go too much into that. Someone else asked a question about, if you don't want to work with a client, what do you do? I'm honest. I'm like, hey, this is not a good fit. It sounds like an awesome, interesting project. There's a lot of people on Upwork that surely can help you with this. And if you ever need anything in the future, please feel free to reach out, and I'll be more than happy to help. And if you do find, and here's where I go a little bit above and beyond. I'm like, if you do find someone else and you need me to give you any advice, or if you want me on the call for 15 minutes, I will be more than happy to jump on. That opens up so many opportunities in the future. A lot of people are in shock. They're like, you're literally going to help us talk to someone? I'm like, sure. Yeah, I'll help you. I'll help you for 15 minutes. They end up referring you. They end up sending you. I had a client that I did that for 5 years. He got a new job with another company, and they hired me because he remembered I did that for him through Upwork.
That's impressive. So, it does make a difference. I've done a similar thing in mine.
Really
I call it firing the client early. If I know that it's not a good match, and firing has a connotations, I use it for effect. But if I find early in the discovery call, you know what, this isn't going to be a match, whether it's cultural, whether it's not really my specific skill set, I won't just simply say bye, but I will say, this isn't a good match. I would suggest you use these keywords in your job posting. Make sure they have X, Y, Z. Give them the ingredients to succeed in their next pairing. So I think we have a very similar logic there. And quite right. I've never had anyone grumble when I've done that. They've been quite appreciative.
Exactly.
Let me see here.
Let's see.
Quite a few questions. We'll try and bring in some of those if we can. Let's talk about pricing. So we talked about, there is a technique when you're new. Sometimes you can drop your price just to get some good feedback in the door. Let's say that we've got some feedback in the door. You're doing well. You're at maybe at intermediate level. I'm not sure if I want to raise my price. I've been charging $60 an hour, feeling good, but my week is full. How do I know what to charge? How do I get a gauge on what's realistic, and how do I safely increase my rates with, let's say, with my existing book of clients?
With your current clients, if they're amazing to you, if they're low drama, if it's easy work and you enjoy it, I would personally leave them there for quite a while, even if you do increase your prices. Personally, I do think you will have to get to a point where, now for new clients, so let's say you're charging 60 an hour and you move it up to 100 an hour. New clients, charge them 100. I would keep the old clients where they are until it gets to a point where you have so many new clients or so many new inquiries. Then you may potentially go back to your old client and say, hey, can we get on a quick call? Maybe you don't want to move them to 100, maybe move them to 80. And, you kind of want to, baby steps. Don't shock them and double the rate. I think it's not a good idea, right? Because client may freak out and close the project. Client may freak out and say, no, thanks. Client, I wouldn't do that. Just kind of actually talk to them and say, hey, I've been working with you for the last, 13 months. You can see that the results are amazing. And I'm getting people inviting me for $100, $150, or $120, or whatever it is. Would it be okay if we go from 60 to 75 or 60 to 80? 90% of the time, they're not going to have a problem with that.
Yeah. I also like to test my rate raises with new clients before ever touching my existing clients. I don't like to do exploratory things.
Yep, that's your bread and butter. If those clients are good and they're happy and they're no drama and they like you and you like them, I wouldn't mess with it. I would do it like you said, do it with the new clients, and then slowly move those old clients up, but explain it to them. That's the key. I learned with places like Upwork and any marketplace, right? Any marketplace, whether it's Amazon or Upwork or anywhere, communication is the most important thing, right? Obviously doing a good job, being honest, being hardworking and so forth is good, but communication is everything.
Yeah, I will say that honesty and being proactively honest has for me personally been huge. Even when I've had client projects where it fizzles out, maybe I didn't do enough upfront exploration and I figure out 2 months in, I don't know how to do what you're asking and I'm going to fail if I do. That honesty and just candor I've found is usually well received. I've very rarely had people squeak when I've just been like, oh, I bit off a bit more than I can chew. I can help you find the right direction to go, but I don't want to do you wrong. And I think that's really important. I know that Upwork as an entity puts so much resources, effort, and intention of building a marketplace of trust. That means, speaking to what some people are saying, there are scam postings on Upwork. The amount of resources and teams applied to solving that problem is extensive. With that being said, in January or possibly February, we'll be having another Avoiding Scam on Upwork event. This is a moving target. People that are posting these are very intelligent, and they keep moving the mark. As we solve one format, another one will come up. But know that it is something that we actively track and actively are looking to avoid. Now, what are some things, Sam, from your perspective, advice that you can give to folks on avoiding scam? Like, how do you immediately red flag?
Yeah.
I'm not even going to bother. This is a scam. What do you say?
Okay, so the people that get scammed all come to the forum and post. So you can see a lot of the things that are happening to them, unfortunately. If anybody ever asks you to contact them on WhatsApp or Telegram or anything like that, 99.99999% it's a scam. Okay, so if anybody asks you to talk outside of the platform, it's a scam, right? Number one. Number two, if they ask you to send money, it's a scam, right? Like, you're supposed to be making money on the platform, not giving other people money, right? So that's a scam. That's number two. Number three, look at their history. Now, I've had a lot of clients who had never had actually hired someone on Upwork. So I'm not saying that this is exclusive, but you can pretty much tell from the history if they just opened that account and then they wrote this very vague post, that's a scam. If they send you a 15-page paper to transcribe and translate and say, do this first, and then we'll think about it, most likely it's a scam. So honestly, a lot of it is obvious. Actually, a lot of it is in the Upwork terms of service. If you just kind of like look at that and you read that very thoroughly, you'll notice. Number one, don't take work off the platform. Number two, don't send anyone any money. Number three, look at the history of the client. Just those are the obvious things. And I know, unfortunately, there's a lot of people overseas who are like, hey, I'll do this for $20. I'll do this for $50. And people new to the platform are like, I just want to get a job on here. So sometimes they're going to do things that, unfortunately to say, out of desperation, because they really want to get a job, and they end up sending someone money or losing money. So I would say if you follow those three things right there, you're going to avoid 98%, 95, 90% of the scams if you just stay away from those three.
Yeah. And this is a question that comes up quite frequently. I think Janet just dropped it too. Do you work with anyone that has payment unverified when it comes to when you're freelancing? Do you even bother putting a bid on those jobs?
I do. And what I do is I will talk to the client first, and I would say, hey, again, get them on the phone, right? Once you get them on the phone, hey, this is Bob from Tooling and something. Check out our website. You already know they're legit pretty quickly, right? You'll know pretty quickly. And then you just tell them, hey, it looks like Upwork shows that you're unverified. Do you mind going and verifying yourself? So, they say, oh, I didn't know that. Okay, let me do it right now. Can you show me how? It always works that way when they're legit, right?
Yeah.
Again, also another thing is, if the client can get on a 10-minute Zoom call through Upwork, you'll know pretty quickly if they're scamming you or not. Like, you'll know. Like, so if it's like, hey, this is Joe from WebMD, like, he's not fooling around. Like, you'll know pretty quickly, right? So that's one thing. Yep.
Yeah, I fully agree with you on that one. I also will bid on jobs where the client is unverified, because I've encountered a massive amount of clients that are just brand new to the platform, and taking 5 or 10 minutes to help hold their hand and say, hey, this is how it works. This is what you can expect. And this is how everyone stays safe and good. I've already, despite my not even starting my work, I've already created a trust relationship with that person. They already know that
100%.
Will's going to do them right. So I personally think it's very quick to find out if it's a scam by doing that. And if it's not a scam, you've just made a buddy. So I like that quite a lot.
100%. And even if you don't get them as a client right there, they will remember you. They will come back in. And by the way, I even jobs that I bid on and someone replies, but then I don't hear from them in 3 weeks, I'll go in there and Upwork messages and say, hey, Joe, did you ever find someone to help you with that job? Oh, no, Sam,
nice.
it's the end of the year, and we've been swamped here at the company with the Christmas holidays, and our e-commerce sales are doing well, and it's been busy. But hey, do you have any time to connect on the first week of January when everybody's back? I'm like, sure, let me put you on my calendar. It works a lot, by the way.
That is an important point, and I want to frame that too as a little to loop back in there. So many people ask, I put out a proposal, client says, yeah, Will, that sounds great, and then sort of nothing happens. What you just described happens so frequently. As we mentioned earlier, the client may have all this work and they're on Upwork to get help with this tiny portion of it. Sometimes things are on fire and people get distracted. And
100%.
what you were talking about is important, just not right now. So your workflow that you just outlined, where sort of like if things go a bit quiet, or maybe they sort of, you know, you went your other ways, following back up periodically and just touching base, you can absolutely win clients that way. And you build confidence that you are on top of these types of things. I love that, Sam. Thank you for sharing that.
Especially this time of the year. Everybody's busy, everybody's out on vacation, everybody's out with their kids, everybody's celebrating the holidays. I have two potential clients, two proposals that I put out, and they said yes, we're ready to go, and they kind of disappeared. So one of them, I'm like, hey Carol, how's it going? And she's like, oh, I'm so sorry, Sam, we're swamped. We're trying to get all our customer billings out here before the end of the year so they can get paid. I'm like, oh, no problem. And she's like, do you have time today at 2:30 to just jump on and review exactly what we're going to agree on? And I'm like, sure. So if I didn't send her the message, it would have probably went to next year, which is okay also. Another thing for people to get long-term clients really, really quick, people ask me this a lot, is there's a lot of agencies on Upwork. So there's a lot of like internet marketing companies. There's a lot of web development firms. There's a lot of web design firms. If you're looking for long-term work, look for those people, because they usually have a lot of clients and they'll hire you to help them with their clients. So that's another really good way to get long-term work on Upwork.
Yeah, definitely. And to wrap in a few questions here under a larger umbrella, how do you stay motivated? You know, I've noticed from my experience, there's usually lulls in my season. Sometimes I got too much work. Other times, no one wants to talk to Will.
Sure.
And then how do you stay up? How do you stay motivated? And sort of tying in the fact that you had a medical condition, you know, when you were first getting up on board. I know someone mentioned that they have limited mobility. How do you stay in a positive mindset and keep moving forward?
So number one, I get this question asked a lot, is what happens when the well dries, right? I mean, it happens sometimes where you're like, oh crap, I had two clients that moved on, and I was working 35 hours and now I'm working 8. Keep your pipeline full. So I'm not saying go if you're full proposals, that's not smart, but always be on the lookout for those nice projects that you would really like to have, and start the communication and get the ball rolling there, because a lot of those don't materialize for a month, 2 months, 3 months sometimes. So keep your pipeline going, keep talking to people, whether it's old clients, whether it's old proposals, whether it's new proposals. I think that's one way. How do I keep myself motivated? Number one, I as I said earlier, I'm on a mission, right? So I want to one day solve kidney disease. It's super important to me. I really want to do that one day. So that's one thing. I've been given a second chance at life, so I do not take anything for granted. Number two, and honestly, I really, a lot of people that I work with are entrepreneurs. They're trying to make it. They're hustling. They're working hard. They have families. They tell me about their families. It's like, it's part of it for me, to be honest with you. So keeping clients happy, and if you keep clients happy, that's alone a satisfaction. And then of course, the more clients you keep happy, the bigger history you grow, etc., the more money you're going to make eventually.
Yeah, I found being involved in the community, honestly, events like this help me stay up. I love talking to people around the world. As I mentioned before we started, it's amazing to me that we have people all around the globe here with us right now, and we all have a lot of things in common and are all working towards the same thing and supporting each other in our growth, sharing fantastic information here in the chat. It really is inspiring to me, and no shortage of inspiration and motivation to be found from our amazing community, right?
Real quick, what actually made me think about Upwork this weekend was watching the World Cup. I don't know, I'm sure a lot of people here watch the World Cup. You just felt that world community, didn't you? It just felt really good, to be honest with you. And it reminded me of Upwork, that we're really all one. We're really all, all humans are the same to me. I don't care what religion or what color you are, we're all the same. And that's what I love about Upwork, right? Like, I'm hiring the best developer. I don't care if he's in Pakistan or Ukraine or Australia, or I don't really care, right? And that's what I love about it.
Yeah, same. And I love getting the variety of viewpoints. What may be common to everyone here, you get a completely fresh take from someone that lives in a different part of the world, approaching a problem that I never would have considered approaching it from that direction. So it's fantastic.
Exactly.
Folks, we've hit time for today. Sam, this has been action-packed and full of so much information. I really appreciate you taking the time to share your wisdom and experience with us. I know there's been a lot of love in the chat here.
I love it. Yep.
A lot of people have mentioned, do you have a book out right now? I can't remember if you do or not.
I don't, but I've been working on it. To be honest with you, I'm on the 5th draft. It's 150 pages in a Word document. So I've been going line by line, and it's pretty intense. So it's probably going to be another 5 or. It's actually done. Just nagging me to actually go through it. So it'll be fun. It'll get there. It'll get there.
So what is the best way if people want to connect with you? What's the best way? Is it through the Upwork community? Is it through what's the channel that you continue conversations in?
Sure. LinkedIn. You can find me on LinkedIn, Samer Bazzi, Samer Bazzi, Bazzi. So you can look me up on there. So it's linkedin.com and just look up Samer Bazzi. The other way, I'm very involved in the Upwork forums and the Upwork community. Yes. So I do have a couple big posts on there of reviewing people's profiles or their proposals. So feel free to go ahead and put your link on there. If you are top rated, feel free to go ahead and add me into your network on Upwork. So feel free to go ahead and do that. And those are kind of the ways. I'm very involved with Upwork. I'm very involved on giving tips and tricks. But feel free to message me on LinkedIn if you need me to look at your profile or if you have any questions. And same thing with the Upwork profile, Upwork community.
That's lovely. Fantastic. And folks, as we close out this event here, in your email, you will see a feedback form. Your feedback and your commentary help me decide what are we going to talk about next. So if you have 2 minutes to just give me that feedback, it'd be lovely. I look forward to hearing from you. And thanks again for everyone joining us today. Have a fantastic holiday time. And I look forward to seeing you all in the new year. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody. It was a pleasure.